Hi everyone, it's Leanne again. I'm here to talk to you about my little side poplet that I've gone through. So the subject area that I chose to go through is chemistry. And there's my name. And here are the ideas that I came up with that you can use poplet for in the chemistry classroom. The first idea is chemical versus physical change. Second one is lab safety. You connect the do's and the don'ts and how to. You can also include videos and other things to demonstrate lab safety. Scientists and their discoveries can also be used with Poplet, and I think that could show how scientists are linked and how things are gone. And you can probably even make a timeline with this, which would be really cool. So right now we're going to jump into my Poplet that I created. And right here it is. I'm just going to click on it and pop! There it is. Here is my starting point, chemical versus physical change. Let's start on the chemical side. I listed some chemical changes, such as a gas is produced, production of a precipitate, which is basically a falling out of a solid. So you have liquid and then a solid forms and falls to the bottom of the beaker or test tube that you're using. My third chemical change is change in color. Now, this change in color deals with the chemical, dealing with the change in color of the chemical properties. It's not just like painting something, because if you just paint something, you're just changing the physical aspect. This is actually changing the chemical makeup of it. And then we go down here, and you can see the last chemical change I said was temperature. So for the first poplet right here, I gave an example, which is baking powder and vinegar, and we can all see how that produces the carbon dioxide gas because it bubbles and it fizzes when it reacts. My second example for the product of a precipitate is when you add silver nitrate and sodium chloride together. The reaction forms silver chloride and sodium nitrate, and the typo, I'll fix that. And the silver chloride is insoluble. So since it is insoluble, it will fall out of the solution, which is sodium nitrate. It's kind of hard to see if you haven't dealt with it, so I apologize. For the change in color one down here, the example is bleaching your hair, because when you do bleach your hair, it's a chemical process. The change in temperature example is burning a match, because it gives off heat. Alright, moving on to my physical changes right here. My first physical change is basically a change in physical state, which is like solid, liquid, gas, or plasmid, but I didn't get into that. Change in color. This does not change the chemical properties. So this would be like painting your nails or painting a picture or something like that. My next physical property is a change in shape, and then my final one is a change in texture. So basically I put examples again, and for my example of change in physical state, I said ice to water to vapor. For the color changing one, which does not affect the chemical property, is painting a metal can, like I said earlier. My third change in shape, I basically said folding a paper like origami. It is still paper after you fold it into a crane, so that's why it's a physical property, or a physical change, excuse me. And then my final one, change in texture, and the example I used is sanding wood. So you know how if you've ever worked with wood, sometimes it is rougher, and then you take a sandpaper and you sand it down, and it will become smoother and much prettier and easier to paint and stain. So that would also be a physical property, because it's not doing anything to the chemical makeup of the wood, it's just making it smoother and nicer. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm down here. And here is how it is connected to the state standards. It's going to be kind of wordy, all science standards are. So basically it's under the content elaboration for study of matter, and the subheading is classification matter, and it's basically just saying how we classify matter, and within that we talk about the physical and chemical changes. You can read that blurb, I am not going to read it. To answer the question, would I use this in my classroom? I would absolutely use this in my classroom. I think it is an awesome tool. I think it can be great to collaborate, like with how the other how-to video demonstrated. You can get people to collaborate and see where things come from and everything, and I think it would be great brainstorming or organization of materials and data and everything, and I think it could really help those visual learners and possibly even those, just really visual learners is what I'm thinking of. But it could help them connect main ideas together and see how things interact with one another. So that's why I would use Padlet. Later, I'll be back to help explain the pros and cons. So until then, have a great time.